All right, everyone. I'm a tiny bit late to the party by a couple hours, but I do want to talk about Pantheon, my thoughts about week one, and how I think this is going to go in the future. So, just so you're in the know, Pantheon is a weekly gauntlet style raid encounter where you basically play the best of Destiny's old bosses, old raid encounters, and you do them in a gauntlet, and you beat it for good rewards. Those rewards are drawn from the pool of the raids that you're participating in. So, this week, you're getting the raid rewards from King's Fall, Root of Nightmares, Vow of the Disciple, and finally Deep Stone Crypt. The encounters this week in order are Golgoroth, Caretaker, Explicator, and then finally Atrax the Replicator. That is what the weekly emblem is based off of, Atrax. We learned a couple of new things, that being this game mode does have rotating modifiers. This week, it appears to be Void Surge, Strand Surge, and a brand new modifier called Class Warfare. Class Warfare, the new modifier being whenever you use your class ability near your teammates, you get a stacking damage bonus and damage negation bonus. So you use your class ability 3 times because it stacks up to 3 times, and then you get your 15 seconds of increased damage and damage resistance. This is a no-brainer. Just spam your class abilities and you're going to get this. It's just the bonus damage and the bonus damage resistance are very nice for all these encounters because they did change a couple of things with them. As of right now, the mechanics are identical with all 4 encounters as their base addition. The only thing is, there is a little bit of extra difficulty added into the raid encounters. Let me explain. Once per week for the next 4 weeks, there is a ramping difficulty contest modifier. That being, currently, this week, all of the activities are +5 power, which means effectively you're going to be -5 power. Next week it'll be 10, the week after that 15, and the final week of Pantheon, week 4 Pantheon, +20 effective power, which is the contest mode modifier. This is meant to get us ready for the day 1 and get used to that 20 contest mode modifier. To put it in short, enemies are going to feel tankier, they're going to deal more damage to you, and they're going to take less damage. So that's just how this is going to work, and it is good for the practice. Moving on to the actual encounter by encounter differences, you've been watching footage of the Golgoroth encounter in the background, and the differences in this encounter, starting off, is there will be taken Minotaurs that are invisible that will perma-spawn around the arena. These are similar to the taken Knights that spawn before you typically do damage. It's not the most creative difficulty change, but this is just what we're going for the week. You can see on screen, killing it right there. It spawns in the same locations as the Knights usually do. Also, there's an increased number of Taken Knights that spawn around the map, as well as Taken Ogres that are going to spawn in and try to kill you while you are doing damage to Golgoroth, and while you are clearing ads in preparation for the Golgoroth damage phase. Besides that, currently Golgoroth is as easy as he has ever been, as long as you're of appropriate power. This still feels like doing a regular raid. It might take teams, 2 damage phases, just depends on how rusty you are in having done Golgoroth. Moving on to Caretaker, there are a couple key differences. For starters, runners. In the room where you're collecting the sigils, there will be bees. Yes, the dread enemy type that normally spawns from the Caretaker's back. It will be spawning inside of the room and it will chase you around, and these things do a lot of damage. I fully anticipate that these bees are going to be able to one-shot you when the difficulty modifier gets up to +20 contest mode power. Besides the bees, there are just more enemies, more ogres, more everything that you have to deal with. The stunning is the same. The enemy spawns, for the most part, are the same. There is just more of them. This is a little bit of a cheesier way to do an increased spike of difficulty, but hey, you know, it's the way they chose to do it. There's really no problems with this. You have to coordinate damage the same way. You can still use the same damage. I found that grenade launchers are currently working the best for this encounter. Maybe there's an argument for precision weapons, but that's just what my team was using, grenade launchers. Most teams are going to be able to 2-phase this or even 1-phase this for the first couple weeks, but contest mode, it'll be like doing day 1 Vow of the Disciple all over again. Moving on to the most annoying of the 4 encounters this week, it is the explicator, the stealer of planets. As always, the mechanics for the planets are the same, but the enemy density is increased massively. Normally, it's a joke saying that you have somebody just dedicated to ad clearing, but in this case, you're going to need one person or even two persons dedicated to ad clearing as quickly and efficiently as possible. There are so many enemies, it feels overwhelming to deal with at times because once they start, they do not stop. Apart from that, the first time that both sets of planets are switched in preparation to bring them to the middle, a single tormentor will spawn in front of where the boss normally spawns. This is very predictable, it's very easy, it will always spawn in the same place at the same time. It is a tormentor that can be blinded with a disorienting grenade, so that's important to note. And also, this thing is very easily one-shot by something like Celestial Nighthawk as long as the shoulders are broken. But you have to deal with the tormentor. Finally, in addition to the increased enemy density and the single tormentor that you have to deal with after moving the planets for the first time, the boss will periodically shoot the fire tornadoes at you. The fire tornadoes that normally only spawned during the damage phase now spawn wherever, whenever. If you look at the boss funny, if you kill the enemies funny, if you stand in the wrong place, you are going to be hit with the fire tornado. This thing is very predictable. It travels at a straight line from the point that it walks into you, so it's super easy to predict and dodge, but these things hurt. Do not try to jump over them. Do not try to go through them. Run around them. These things are very, very easily going to be capable of one-shotting you during contest mode when the weeks ramp up. Last but not least, we move on to Deepstone Crypt, Atrax 1, the Fallen Exo. There is one change, and it only matters if you cannot one-phase the boss. That change is a single tormentor will spawn once both sets of servitors are dead. This is a tormentor that can travel freely between the upper platform and the lower platform, so if you can't kill it on the lower platform, eventually it will just spawn up at the upper platform. This is something that you have to coordinate with your team. If you can't kill it on the bottom level, just everybody go up top and you can 6-man it and kill it at the top. Besides that, Atrax is identical. It's just harder. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It is the simplest change of the 4 encounters, I feel, but it just adds that little bit of extra spice, that little bit of extra zest, and it is going to be super, super tricky when doing this on the contest mode during week 4. And what do you get from this? Well, besides the combination of loot from all the different raid encounters, you get a ton of spoils alongside. If you picked up the quest from Erosite, you get to claim an exotic weapon you don't have, or your choice of 1 exotic cipher or 3 ascended shards. Note, you can also access the cache of the raid that it ends on. This week it's the Deepstone Crypt cache. In the next weeks, it will be different caches depending on which raid that it ends with. You may be thinking at this point, how do I get my emblem? Well, you just get it from Triumphs. Super easy, super simple. I'm showing you right here where to find the emblem. You can talk to Shax if you want. Shax really has nothing to say besides good job, come back next week. But this is in your Triumphs, and this is where you're going to be getting the emblem. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot to Pantheon. That's the final burst of content. So I just want to thank each and every single one of you for watching. Hope you all have a great day and an even better week. Like the video if you liked it. Share if you think this is going to be useful for your friends. Besides that, have a great day and goodbye.